Hi again, it's Mrs. Murray. Welcome back to part 3 of your extended essay introduction, where we're going to finish talking about the deadlines. I know that it seems like there are a lot of them, but remember, they're all small pieces as you're going so that nothing becomes overwhelming. The first part of the deadlines, this first February, March, April, you're really just getting all of your background stuff, looking for sources, reading, um, just kind of doing all the groundwork that is needed before you can actually write a paper. So we left off with supervisor meeting number 4. This is your source and outline check, and it will happen at the end of May. This is right after your testing season is over. Here's the reality. A lot of you are thinking, oh my gosh, testing season, I'm going to be testing nonstop. I'm not going to have even a minute to think about this. Well, that may be true, and if you really think that you're going to be so stressed about your tests that you won't have a minute to think, then you just need to bump that deadline up a little bit, and you need to do some thinking earlier. But I'm willing to bet that you can carve out an hour or two in the month of May. An hour or two is all you would need to come up with a little typed outline for your paper where you figure out exactly what you think you're going to talk about. This is an important step because before you get out for the summer and you're working on this totally on your own, you want to have as much feedback from your supervisor as possible. You want them to tell you, yes, you're totally on the right track. You've found some amazing sources, and the way that you think you're going to organize your thoughts sounds perfect. If you miss that stuff, then you're going to kind of be you're just going to kind of be a little stranded over the summer. Yes, your supervising teacher will be in email contact. Yes, you can ask me questions, but it's not the same as when you are physically in the building and can ask whatever questions you want and have access to all of the resources. So that supervisor meeting number 4, you're just going to show them your sources, your 5 that you've located so far, part of them. You could email it to them, you could just pull them up. Just give them a sampling so that they can tell you if you are truly finding quality scholarly sources, because you could follow all these steps and use lousy sources and end up with a lousy grade because you didn't have reliable information. So you want them to look and check and let you know you're on the right track. They don't need to look at all of them, just give them a sampling. And you also want to give them a typed outline so that they can see where you are, so that they can tell you what's going on, they can tell you if you're on the right track. All right. And then our next step is it's the end of the school year, and you are ready to go out and stop thinking about school for the summer. Oh, but wait. You're a junior in IB, which means you can't stop thinking about school in the summer. You need to be working on your extended essay. However, I have set up some alternatives for you. If you truly don't want to think about this at all during the summer, at this point in time, you will have the first 2 days of your summer break, June 9th and 10th, will be extended essay library work days. You can come into the media center, you can bring your laptop, bring what you've done up to this point, and you could hammer out a rough draft of this paper in those 2 days. Just regular, normal school hours. I will be here. Your supervising teachers will be in and out periodically. This is a great option if you don't want to have to worry about this over the summer. But in addition to those 2 days, if you don't quite finish, or if you can't come for those 2 days, there are 2 more days at the end of the school year, beginning of right before school starts, which is scheduled to be August 14th through 15th, unless the first day of school is different than anticipated, since they haven't released that yet at a district level. But I'll be in contact with you via text and email, so I will let you know. Because here's what your task is over the summer. You are completing your entire rough draft of your paper, including an abstract, table of contents, and works cited. The directions and what that abstract, table of contents, and works cited should look like are all inside your packet. I've tried to make it step by step for you, kind of a fill in the blank for those basic pieces so that you know what's expected. But you're completing your paper, and you're in regular contact with your supervising teacher as needed. You can always text me or send me an email, but it's the summer. We don't expect you to be working on this 24/7. If you are, then you're getting a little too obsessed. But you also can't expect your teachers to be working on this 24/7. They're all over the place. They're grading things for AP, they're going to workshops, they're at conferences, maybe they're taking a little time for a family vacation. So you are not going to get the immediate feedback that you will get if you work on this when we are actually at school. So that's why there are 2 more extended essay work days, August 14th through the 15th, right before school starts, where you can finish hammering this out. You can bring in a rough draft and ask us some questions to make sure you did everything right, because August 20th, which is the first Wednesday of the first week of school, your complete first draft is due in Turnitin. This is a grade in your senior English class. It is truly a first draft. It is not expected to be 100% perfect. It is, however, expected to be complete. It should not be missing the abstract. It should not be missing the table of contents or anything else. It should be what you think is a complete paper that you are proud of. You are turning it in by the 20th to turn it in, and then on the 21st, a window will open for you to be able to do a peer review, self-review, check. This is also a grade in your senior English class. Basically, Turn It In will assign you 2 random papers from the pool of extended essays to read and answer some feedback questions on. And then you will answer the same questions about your own paper. This is to allow you a chance to see what other people are doing and to compare it to your own work and see if you're on the right track. It will also give you feedback from 2 of your peers so that you can make the corrections needed, because from August 26th through the 31st, you'll be able to view that feedback, make the corrections, so that you can then turn in a completely revised second draft to turn it in and to your supervising teacher. September 1st is the deadline for the first paper and only time your supervising teacher will read your whole paper. They can read bits and pieces up to this point, but they are only allowed by IB World to read through your full paper one time, and this is it. And it has to be in by September 1st by 3 p.m., and it counts as a grade in your senior English class. So that's 3 grades in senior English right there in the first week of school. You could start off with an A, or you could start off really far behind with an F. That is your choice. We recommend the A. So, but this copy that you're giving to your supervisor for their feedback should be as close to perfect as you can make it, because if they look at it and they see issues with plagiarism, you haven't cited things, they see grammar or spelling issues, they can hand it right back to you and tell you they're not reading any further, because their time is valuable. They are not there to correct your grammar or spelling mistakes. You are a senior in an IB program at this point. You will have gotten peer feedback. They are not there to correct your laziness. They are there to check your content and make sure the paper is the best it can be. Remember that. So that's your second draft. Then sometime during the month of September, whatever point your supervising teacher is able to read your paper, they will schedule a meeting with you. This should be a one-on-one meeting where they will talk to you and they will tell you what you need to correct. They cannot write on the paper and hand it back to you. They can only give you oral feedback, which means you need to go in there prepared to take notes. You can record them if they give you permission to record their voice, but they cannot write on your paper and hand you things circled and marked up. It is suggested that you take your own printed out copy of your paper and mark it up yourself as they tell you what corrections to make. They may have marked up the paper that you gave them so that they know what to tell you, but they cannot hand it to you. That's why you should have your own printed out copy to mark up as they talk to you. You are going to want to make the corrections that they suggest. There is no reason for you not to make the corrections, and your supervising teacher is going to be very upset, and it's going to reflect in their reflection that gets turned into IB World, and it's then going to reflect in your grade if you do not make the corrections. So pay very close attention to issues related to citation and subject, as they can both cause you failing conditions for your paper and therefore risk your diploma. So during the month of October, you have the whole month to make whatever corrections they have told you to make. Hopefully, it's just a few minor things. You're done. You can turn it in early and stop worrying about this thing, because your final extended essay deadline is Halloween, October 31st by 3 p.m. You turn in one printed copy to Miss Chance and one electronic copy to turn it in. You must have turned both in to have met this deadline. This deadline is not a grade, but here's the penalty. If you do not turn it in on that date, Miss Chance will not be registering you for your senior exams because she's going to assume that you have decided to be certificate instead of diploma. Which means that if you change your mind and decide you want to continue in this program, you will be paying the late fees for her to register you, which can cost up to $132 per exam. You do not want to pay those late fees. You will turn in a polished final draft by October 31st. Then your teacher will have a chance to look at it, see what changes you've made, and you will have one last meeting with them called the Viva Voce, which basically just means an oral examination, basically. They're talking to you and finding out what you learned from the process before they write their little report for IB World, where they write a little comment thing. They write some comments about what you learned from the process, and they verify that this was actually your authentic learning process. If you have not met your deadlines and have not met with them regularly, it's going to be very difficult for them to say anything about your process, which is going to mean that IB World is going to do one of two things. They're going to assume that you did not write this paper and therefore give you an E or no grade, or they are going to just dig really closely into it and hold you accountable for every little tiny error. So you want to make sure that you have met with your teachers, you've been there on time, you've talked to them, you've shared your process so that they really are partners in your learning here. So hopefully at this point in time, when the essay is ready to be sent to IB World for grading, you are done and you are ready to get back an A and your life is good. So at this point, if you still have not texted at SCHS IB 2015 to that phone number so that you get my reminders, you're going to want to do so because I'm going to send you regular reminders. I'm also going to send you emails. And all of you should have already filled out the email form that is on the IB website. And if you haven't, go in there and tell me what your email is so that I have an updated one. That way, you will get reminders every which way about what little step in the process you should be on. If you follow those reminders, you're going to be in good shape. This first deadline, your task is to get that contract signed and turned in by the 14th and fill out your subject supervisor request form by the 12th. So now your task is to get thinking. What is it you are passionate about? What is it that you want to spend this much time learning about? Find something that you love. That is the point of IB. If you can't find one thing related to any of the subject areas that you have taken that you are remotely interested in or passionate about, then why are you doing all this work to be an IB? You're supposed to be interested in a motivated learner. So go forth and find the subject that will fuel your passions and make this process as easy as possible. Remember, I am always in the Media Center and I am only a text away. Come to me for help whenever you need to. Thanks for listening.